great health benefits. The book of Psalms in the Bible says that herbs are made for use of man. And we find that throughout history, different herbs were used for medicinal purposes as well. Right? So, the first thing I'm going to attempt to show you is I'm going to put together a meal of sorts. Alright? Just to give you an idea of how they incorporate certain things into your kitchen or your lifestyle or your diet. Now you see the bulgur has cooked and it's only taken about 15 minutes. Alright? Usually I cook for myself, so it's usually a cup to 2 cups. Where in this case, this is about a cup and a half to 3 cups. You always want to, you need to double it. So it's going to be 1 part to 2 parts, basically. Alright? Now bulgur, you don't have to cook it like that. You can also have it steep in hot water and leave it for a couple of hours and it will fluff up and cook perfectly. You can use it in salads, you can use it in tabbouleh, you can use it in a host of things. Now one of the best things about bulgur is that it's a whole grain, has a lot of fiber, it has less carbs than brown rice and more fiber than brown rice. It also has a lot of protein as well. It also comes with a host of things such as it's great for patients with diabetes, it's great for heart risk and for heart diseases, helps prevent heart attacks and stuff like that. So we're going to pair it with just a few things that I made earlier that I have packaged. Alright.
Presentation.
Now with this, we can have a little broccoli. And when you boil your vegetables like this, you don't want to boil them too long. A lot of vegetables, they have a certain acid in them, like green beans. They have an acid that after you boil them too long, the acid turns it brown and very limp. So you always boil it in a lot of water, and you don't boil it for too long. You don't cook it for very long.
Steam it.
Steaming it is a great way, but you can over-steam it as well. But whether you blanch or steam or boil it, you don't want to do it for a very long period of time. Alright? So we have the bulgur, we have a fiber, we have some tofu here, we have some vegetables, we have some black beans. Right? And then just as a touch, to go on top of the black beans, we have some fresh tomatoes with some more cilantro. Cilantro is one of my favorite herbs, so I always use that. Alright? Now with this, you have a complete meal. You have your fiber in your beans and your bulgur. You have your carbohydrates in your bulgur and your carbohydrates in your bulgur and your beans. In your beans you also have a lot of potassium, which combats high blood pressure. You have your tofu, which is a great clean source of protein. You have your vegetables with tomatoes and broccoli. A lot of antioxidants, a lot of minerals, a lot of vitamins. All right, so it's very good. Do you like this?
And she's not too sure.
Not too sure. All right, so we're gonna set this here. All right. All right. So that's that. Moving on. Right. Getting back to what we're drinking. We talked about how the amount of sugar can convert to the amount of fat in your body and how dangerous it can be. The other thing that we want to watch out for is added sugar intake. Things like desserts, things like sodas that can be very detrimental because they're added amounts of sugar. Now, if you look at a can of soda, you'll see it has 39 grams of sugar and 39 grams of carbohydrates. You might as well add the two together and say it has 78 grams of sugar, which is going to equal to about, if you divide it by 4, there's going to be about a little over a quarter cup of sugar in that one can of soda. Alright? So, drinking soda, it doesn't really quench your thirst because it has so much sugar. But in order to, it makes you more thirsty, and in order to control that thirst, you drink more soda, you just compound the situation. If you were to stop drinking soda altogether, right now, everyone would lose a ton of weight. And that's just from watching what you put into your bodies. Alright? So, never come up with a problem without a solution.
You said that it has, how many grams of sugar?
About 39 grams.
39 grams. So where does the carbohydrate come? I would think that the grams of sugar would be the carbohydrate. It's not the same? Because I don't know what the carbohydrate is in the soda. What's causing the carbohydrate?
I don't know. I don't know what they put in the soda.
Because I was thinking that I thought that it has sugars, but sugar is carbohydrate, so it's not saying the same thing.
Carbohydrates is sugar.
I know that. So what, is it really going to be 78? Isn't it just saying that it's how many grams of sugar, which is also the same amount of carbohydrates?
It's not gonna itemize it out like that. All right? Because all the items that you have, all the food labels that you read, it's gonna be itemized out as carbohydrates, fiber, and then sugar. I'm not sure why that's how it is. Your body translates carbohydrates to sugar. I think because it comes in different forms totally. Where your body translates carbohydrates as sugar.
No, I understand that part. I'm just saying that is it really an additional amount as opposed to saying that the sugar is actually, it's also saying, it's like stating the same thing twice is what I'm thinking.
I see what you're
That's
saying.
what I'm trying to say.
But in the case of this presentation, it drives the point home even more to say that it's not something that you want to ingest or something that you want to put in your body. I don't know why it's a differential like that, but I think it's because of just, it's a totally different compound outside the body, whereas inside it's usually the same, you know? Right, so my alternative to you from drinking soda would be to introduce this as you drink. If you're not drinking soda, primarily you want to be drinking water. Water is something that keeps you satiated between meals, it keeps your appetite at bay, and it's also very good for your organs. Keeps your organs working, you know, at an efficient level. It keeps them lubricated, and it keeps them working the way they need to be. The drink that I have here that I want to introduce to you is called red tea, or rooibos tea. Alright? This is made from a bush in South Africa that has been drinking this for years. And it has a very high antioxidant level. It's very good for, it's a digestive aid. It's very good for the stomach. It's also very good for your skin. And the best thing about it is for the people here that don't take caffeine, it has no caffeine because it is a herb. It's not made from the same plant that the green tea or the white tea or the black tea is made out of. Green teas, white teas, and black teas are all made out of the same leaf. They're made from the same plant called the Camellia sinensis. And when fermented, they get to have caffeine in them. Different amounts for depending on how long they fermented. All right. This though is a herbal tea like mint or chamomile or rosemary. Those things don't have caffeine because they're herbs and they're from a different plant altogether. All right. So the red tea, which I wanted to introduce to you, I don't know if you guys ever heard of it or even tried it, but it has a naturally sweet taste, and it is, I'm gonna get some ice. It has a naturally sweet, earthy taste, and it's red, as you can see. And it's a great substitute. It's a great substitute for other drinks that carry a lot of sugar and don't have any health benefits whatsoever. All right. So you can drink it hot in the winter, which is what most people usually do. or you can take it cold, and it still has a lot of the same health benefits. Alright? Now, I made a whole jug that everyone here can have a taste of it. And this is, I got this particular variety at HEB. It sells for about $1.89 a pound. Alright? It might be a little bit more expensive than the sodas, but I guarantee it's a lot better for you. And it's very refreshing. Alright? Rooibos. It's called rooibos. It's spelled R-O-I-B-O-S. Yes. What's that? Here's a good thing. I added a very minute amount of honey and brown sugar to this. Right? So with these things that I've shown you here, the only salt is in this so the only salt that's in this food is in the tomatoes, in which I sprinkle a little bit on, and I just a pinch of salt. So there's also a little bit of salt in the beans, but other than that, there's very little sodium, and with this is a very little added sugar. The point is, when you make your own food, is that you control what you're putting into it. In other words, you're controlling what you put into your own body. So it has the control is now in your hands rather than in somebody else's hands, or a restaurant, somebody you don't know. You don't know what's being put into your food. All right. So yes, there is a very little bit of sugar in here, but it just adds to the natural sweetness that's in there. And you can have it without. Usually when I have the tea, I have it without. But for the sake of presentation and for the sake of the audience here, I add a little bit just for taste. Any other questions?
I have a question. Just mentioned salt. Do you have a preference between sea salt and just plain table salt? Or does it
Your body's
matter,
gonna
all
see
that?
that salt. I think there are some salts that have more salinity in it than others, but when I use salt, I use it very sparingly. I don't use a whole lot. I use table salt. You know?
That's good. For adding salt, sea salt. Much better.
For what?
Sea salt.
Sea salt, you're saying that for health purposes, sea salt is a lot more beneficial than salt. It's a lot better.
But it's different.
Right, it's different salt.
But they used to tell me
Different
to
salt.
use like the table salt or the iodine because you need iodine in your body. And you don't usually, yeah, you get it so rare.
Okay, I understand that. I can understand that the table salt is a good source of iodine, but you can also find iodine in other foods as well, without the added, without the mishaps of, say, table salt. You know, so there are different kinds of food that you can find your different minerals and vitamins in. All right, but salt is one of those things that, while it's not inherently bad, it can be. And a lot of times, people can add salt to food. They just have a taste for salt, So that can be very detrimental and can lead to a lot of problems in the body, all right? All right, so moving on. So we have bulgur for food substitute. For those of you who are just here, bulgur has less carbohydrates than it's low in carbohydrates. Also, although that it's a whole grain, it has a lot of fiber and a lot of protein, It also has a lot of minerals, magnesium, phosphorus, selenium, what else? Manganese. All these things are contained in those wheat grains, which makes it very beneficial, very healthy to our body. I can't speak enough about bulgur wheat. Ever since I found out, I've been eating it since.
How did you prepare it? Because
How do I prepare it? I steamed it. I just boiled it.
Well, porridge.
with
What porridge?